Even in grip, we have a lot of women right now lighting. So I think it is important that we just start eliminating uh, the word a woman director.
Tailor's Palette. Experience the magic of bespoke craftsmanship tailored just for you. Measure now and enjoy your perfect fit in just 2 hours.
Female director, female editor, female cameraman is attached. What do you make of it? Isn't it high time we did away with? Because I don't think we say male director ka film hai, male editor hai. So what do you two have to say about this?
I think initially it was important because we had very few directors or editors or cinematographers who were women, and it was very important to celebrate women per se, to be in a field which was predominantly dominated by men. With the growing age of cinema, and to see so many women now into the mainstream of cinema, thanks to so many I would say thanks to the parents and thanks to the education which we are getting, we see so many women who are now in the forefront, whether they are as editors, whether they are as directors, as costume stylists, as cinematographers also. Even in grip, we have a lot of women right now lighting. So I think it is important that we just start eliminating the word a woman director. Is because I'm a director, I happen to be a woman. So that's what it is. But my lens will always be slightly more different. But sometimes when I want to wear, I always call myself, and when I'm thinking about something, I would always, if I have, suppose, something which I need to think, putting my cap as a man. How would a man think in this situation? Because I make movies and I create characters, so it's very important for me to put caps of different kinds. Whether it's a man, it's a woman, it's a different age groups, it's everything. So for me, I'm multidimensional, and I think as a woman, the only difference it would be like what Shweta and I were just discussing right inside here is that the first thing we discuss is, oh God, there are kids' exam, and I just had a call. So that's the only discussion is because hey, you're here, yeah. What time is your flight? What time is your flight? Okay, exams are there tomorrow. So I think that would be the only discussion. I don't think so. Two directors who are men would be discussing that at the waiting room. So yeah, that's the only difference.
And Shweta, especially, you're an editor. I belong to a TV organization where we had one female editor to the 30 others who were all men. And especially in films, we have had people like, the very talented Renu Saluja and all those. But what has it been like for you? And also the kind of shows you've edited, Gangs of Wasseypur and all testosterone driven.
When I started editing, there was I was from the Film Institute, and we came with this thing that editors are not technicians, they're artists and things like that. So when somebody called me or referred to me as a female female technician, I wasn't sure which part of that term to be more offended by, female or technician. And I think female was what hurt me the most, because I never thought, we never think of ourselves as female or male or whatever. So we just go about, our focus to do our work, right? So we are not approaching even a film like, say, Gangs of Wasseypur. Is it a male-oriented film? No, it's a film. So we are approaching a work and we do things for what the film demands, right? We are not thinking about whether the director is a male or a female. We are not thinking about whether the movie is male-centric or female-centric. We are doing our work. So I don't think there's really much more than that. So if we think too much about it, then that's when we get stuck, and then that's when we get conscious. So yeah, that's what I would say. I hate the word female. We won't call ourselves a female mom. No.
Absolutely.
Right? So we are moms. We are technicians, we are editors, we are directors. That's what it is. So.
What I was telling you also, what I told you earlier, was like an editor telling me, yeah, aapko nahi samajh aayega. That kind of things even I have faced till recently. It's that mindset. She will not understand the technicalities because it's my job, whether it's an editor or a camera person.
Technicalities happen even in so I was getting my house interior done, and the guy or the contractor had sent someone, and I knew that the tank needed a certain kind of lid, and it needs to be, there's some kind of specifications which was needed. So when he came, I told him that, these are the specifications I need, is because it cannot be too heavy, is because we need to see whether the water is filling in, when we get water and everything. And he's just not even looking at me. And he's saying, "Madam, ये नहीं होने वाला है." And आप सर को बोला. तो I said, "सर वर्क उसको मतलब फर्क नहीं पड़ता उनको, हम उनसे बात करो."
I love situations like these. I just
उनसे मुझसे बात करो, मैं देखती हूँ कि इसका कितने सेंटीमीटर का है, आपने ये स्क्वायर काट के लेके आए हो आप, मेरे को सर्कुलर चाहिए था, आप वापस अभी काम करोगे, so then I called up my interior designer, who's a woman, and she says, "Ashwini, I face this problem all the time. These guys just think that they know everything."
Absolutely.
And we have the maximum amount of female architects, I would say.
But just taking off from that, I had graduated from the institute, FTI, and I worked for 7 years in advertising, and I finally got my first feature film. I was so excited. I was working with Anurag Kashyap, my first film, and it got done. And I had to tell my parents, I think my parents said, "We want to watch it. It's releasing after 2 years of being made." I said, no, don't watch it. It's okay. Don't watch it. No, we are very proud. Our daughter's whatever, she's from FTI. We need to see her name on screen and all. And both of them went. They were the only 2 people in the theater. And the film was That Girl in Yellow Boots.
Oh, okay.
I was like, you don't judge me by this film, but I'm going to do better work. Of course, the film is still a good film, but they wouldn't understand. Poor souls, they were so shocked. It's the film industry is a good place, for women. Don't worry, I will get there.
But Pooja, the thing is that we both come from an advertising background, and I have always been very lucky to be in a place where my boss KV Sridhar used to tell me, and Arvind Sharma used to tell me that Ashwini, I need to see more women in the boardroom.
Yeah.
And one day he saw too many art directors who were men. All my JJs and everyone was just there in my group, and he said, "Don't you?" And then he called me to the room. So I was like, "I don't know who is it." So I asked her, I said, "Pops, what happened?" He said, "I think there are too many men in your group. I think you need to hire more women in the team."
Yeah.
And that's how I started hiring more art directors who were women, and writers were there, but we needed more art directors who were women, and we needed more women to go and front clients, to speak to clients, to talk to them, to handle their businesses. And that's what we try to set up. And I always remember this one thing, and I think now it is continuing in the film industry. You have 30% women in every film you make. But for us, it was that I need to see more women in the boardroom.
Absolutely.
So when you say boardroom, which means they are decision makers.
Absolutely. And this is what we also need, because.
And just a few days back, I spoke to a client of mine, an FMCG brand, and he said that I need to see women telling the story. So I always say this: you need more men to encourage women, and that's what happens. So for us, it is about how much you get onto the table, what are you writing, and what it is. I think most of my scripts I've written with 3 boys, and it's like sametna hai sabko. So, and everyone get paid equally for the total amount of what the script writing would be for. I've worked with, I've written, directed, and I don't think so that is a problem. I only feel that you're as good as what you get onto the table.
Absolutely.
And what you write.
Sorry, but I beg to differ on that count. I struggle with that even now. At least for editors, I have seen there is a marked difference in what is being offered. Like the first amount, when we start negotiations, the amount that I start from may not be the same for another editor who's a man.
Really?
Right?
I'm going to start.
That's why a bunch of us have now got together. We're trying to kind of do something about it. But you get to know from sources that my starting amount is not the same as your starting amount when you start talking for a project, and then it hurts. Because somewhere down the line, people assume just because I work and insist on working 8 hours a day, I can't work beyond that. The human mind doesn't allow me to, I have things to do, I have a life. that doesn't mean going back to kids and home and cooking. That's not it. It's other things that we have to do. So people think that ye to nahi rahegi, she's not going to stay for beyond 7, right? So why pay her more? So I still struggle. I'm saying 8 out of 10 people are good, but the other 2, like whatever, like say 20%, who I struggle with to try and make them understand that, my starting figure can't be so low.
And also, Shweta, now the fact, I'm asking the two of you since you edit a lot of films, have you seen it? It's really heartening now to see whether it's, I know Neena Gupta asked for work, like it's not just because I'm a certain age that I should not be given movies, but today I was just a little taken aback with a statement saying men and women are not equal in the industry, which is now it's uncalled for because here you have actors like a Tapu. It was very nice to see a Kareena Kapoor now leading these movies, though many of them feel key. We are not too sure whether it translates as a box office. So OTT has come as a boom, where you now are actually having narratives being made for older senior actors beyond a certain age, which they say so does not happen in Hollywood as such, vis-a-vis in India, because a lot more. But are you seeing a certain change? And also another question here, you have your Anurag Kashyap movies on the one hand, and then you have the Hasi To Pasi and the Veere Di Wedding. Are there times when you feel have you felt while editing a movie saying that I would have done this like that, it shouldn't have been done like this?
Other people's movies?
Yeah, I know.
No, I know. I mean, see, it's very difficult as an editor to look at another movie, and say, I should have done it like this. It's unless
the movies that you're editing, like that's been directed and come to you. So I wish you had shot it like that.
Oh, that happens every day, but I'm not going to. That's a part of a job, right? I mean, it's like you either salvaging something or you're telling a story, or between both of these, you're editing. That's what editing is about. But that happens. Like it's again a collaborative process between the director and you and your team and everything. So many times we see the film and then we change a lot of things. Change in the sense that we rewrite a lot of things on the edit, obviously to tell the story in the best possible way. Have you ever asked them to
reshoot a certain thing that you?
Yeah, of course. I'm thankfully I'm in that stage where I can contribute in that department. I can go ahead and say that we do need these shots for the scene. Whenever you end up doing a pad shoot, and fortunately there have been people who take me seriously. I mean, they have started at least over the years, and they understand that it's for the film. It's not just kind of when they see the final film and they see these are the things which are required to be shot, and we kind of jam together and arrive at a decision. So it's not a one-person thing.
I think the younger lot are far more collaborative.
Yeah.
So I work very closely with my editor. Even I think Shweta must be knowing Charu really well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Charu is also from FTII, and there's a bunch of female editors who are all very close, and it so happens that, and I don't know, Shweta, whether you know about it, but a lot of my male director friends prefer female editors now.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. So and Nitesh,
far more diligent also.
Nitesh cannot work without Charu. Like he wants Charu to be around.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I kept asking him, what is it? What is the difference? And I kind of they're just more disciplined.
Yeah.
The editors are much more disciplined. I love that whole idea that they've gone through all the rushes and they're discussing things with us, and there is a contribution which is there. And the fear that every day after we finish and like dekha kya, what do you think? Do I need to shoot a little bit more? What is it like? And also I feel also music sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, music sense. So there's a like a kind of music bed we need to put, and I've always found that my female editor friends have always put better music. Not that I have worked with some of the best editors. Shekhar and Baluji and all, very, very nice editors. But I just have this little extra love for female art directors, female editors, costumes anyways you have. Yesterday, unknowingly, at the award ceremony, we kind of realized, I was in the short film jury, and we didn't know. We just had done the jury work, and when the director came, the writer came, the producer came. Everyone were women.
Oh, that's awesome.
My question for you both is, how do you address the challenges when it comes to like working with all male crew members in the team? Like, does it change the perspective, or do you think that as you mentioned that people are like hiring more female technicians, but there are times that we are supposed to work with all male members in the crew. So how do you address like challenges?
I think first of all, I think we should stop thinking too much.
Yeah,
How are we going to behave? And it's just like normal. It's just going to be.
You can't be conscious about
You can't be
these things.
conscious about
that, that
these
will
things.
affect your work. I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, unless and until there's something which is really troubling you in that ecosystem, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, and I don't think so. It matter. I always feel that the coexistence of a direction team or a film team has always been very strong and very close. So I don't see that as an issue unless until you feel that way.
No, but I understand also, like, you might end up feeling a little uncomfortable, but see, that's across professions. I don't think there's something unique about this profession that, you know, you are not going to deal with. You're going to deal with the same challenges, same issues, you know, which is across whatever profession you're in.
But answering your point, there are some issues which I have faced, and I just made sure that my team doesn't face it. Most importantly is because we shoot in locations which are pretty outdoor, and men can go and be anywhere, and we cannot. So I just made sure that the women of my team, if there was a vanity van, which is there usually in every location, we shoot. If there isn't, then at least when you have a vanity van, you at least have one door which is only for women,
Yeah,
and that door has. And now our production teams and all just know it, right? From sanitary pads to sanitizers to everything is just there. Last time, my production person also put face wash and everything else and sunscreen, so that, you know, when we're going out we can just put our sunscreen and go. So it's about how you put the habit that there are people and you need to do it.
I have watched Panga and I have watched Bareilly Ki Barfi. I'm yet to watch Nil Bate Sannata. But both these places, you see like people like characters like Pankaj Tripathi's, for example. That is what comes to mind when you say men written by women, right? So I wanted to ask, is there a film in the past, like as maybe you watched as a child or a teenager or something, that made you think that this is something I want to do? Like an inspiration, I mean.
Yeah, so I think as a storyteller and also I'm assuming that you're an aspiring writer, director, I think as a storyteller it is very important to travel and see life. We cannot be writing and telling a story within the four walls of our house. It's not going to be possible. Then we might as well tell a story inside the four walls of a house, and there are some really cool stories there too. But if you're telling about life stories about people, about characters, and you have an intent to say, then it is very important to travel, to see people, to understand. It is very important to understand the roots of the place where you're going to be talking the story from. So if I'm talking about Bareilly or I'm talking about Agra, and I want to understand the social structure of that place, especially if you have not watched Nil Bate, but for Nil Bate it was very important for me to understand the social structure of these two characters whom I'm talking about. It's very important to ask questions. So in Nil Bate Sannata, the girl who was just going through 10th exam was actually a story of happening in my household between my Didi and her daughter, because Didi felt that she cannot be studying more. And what is she going to do? I don't have the means. But she forgot that I would be there to be a source for her if her daughter is going to be educated. So there was Ratna Pathak Shah, who was like a mentor who could like teach and say that things are happening. Similarly, I think the father-daughter relationship is something which you aspire. So an audience who's watching it, a daughter would say that, I wish I had a father like this whom I could talk to. Or the daughter would say, I have a father like this and I love that relationship. Or it would be like the father would say, this is exactly the kind of relationship I would want to have with my daughter. So these are, as a storyteller, what we say, the audience consumes it. And we have the ability to portray a story and have an audience completely grasp into it and get inspired by it.
So, ma'am, my question is, like, while writing strong female characters, like, does something subconsciously holds you back because of the audience perception or the box office numbers, like how the audience is ready, or you just go for it?
No, I just go for it. I don't think so. Something holds me back. But also, the only one thing which maybe that is because everyone has a purpose as a storyteller, and what is my purpose as a storyteller? What am I trying to communicate? And I just always feel that whatever films I make should be archival. Like long after I've gone, it needs to be archived. And for me, it's also very important that the stories which I say, even if it is a thriller tomorrow or even if it is an action tomorrow, it has to have some kind of meaning because that's my purpose. And my purpose also should be that that tomorrow maybe there are some films which my children may not be able to see, but when they grow up or they are able to watch, they should be proud of the kind of films I've made, and that is my purpose. So everyone's purpose can be completely different. For me, the most humble thing is that in my daughter's school, when the English teacher, literature teacher comes and says that, you guys have to watch movies, and Nil Pate Sonata is a very good movie and you all should watch it, and to see the smile of my daughter when her friends are looking at her and smiling at her. So I think that is what my purpose is. So there's no written rule. I think you write for an audience, of course, because you are making films for yourself, but at the same time you're making film for an audience. Who doesn't love an audience interaction? So if this room was completely empty, I would just feel very bad, right? So you have to write for your audience, but at the same time you have to be able to communicate in a way where you're telling a new kind of story. So when Shweta was editing and talking about her film, which she felt was very passionate in terms of the relationship, and that's her point of view, and there's nothing wrong in that, and that's what storytelling does. It takes audience into different sides